people, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be talking about 5 things you need to do to come to Canada via the express entry route. A lot of people have asked me, I want to come to Canada. How do I come to Canada? What do I do to come to Canada? And a lot of people have asked you as well. They want to come to Canada and they would like to know how to come to Canada. So I will be speaking about 5 things that you need to do to come to Canada. The number 1 thing is to check if you are eligible. You have to be able to check if you are eligible, and so that you don't waste your time and waste your money if you are not eligible. To check if you are eligible, you need to use the CRS tool. Now, Google CRS tool. So you need to Google Comprehensive Ranking System tool. When you do that, you scroll down a bit. I'm looking here because I have my tab to the right. You scroll down a bit, and then the first question you will see is, what is your marital status? If you are single, you indicate single. If you are married, indicate married. Be truthful, because you want to know if you are eligible, and so you have to answer the questions truthfully. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to indicate single, never married, single. The second question here is, how old are you? Now you need to indicate what is on your birth certificate or what is on your passport. Actually, you need to indicate the truth. So I will just put, for the purpose of this exercise, I will put 30 years. It is important to note here that as you turn 30 or more than 30, you lose 5 points every year. So if you're 31, you lose 5 points. Every day on your birthday, you lose 5 points once you turn 30. The fourth question here is, what is your level of education? Now it says, enter the highest level of education for which you, 1, earned a Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate, 2, had an educational credential assessment. Now, you would have to, I'll speak about it in my next point, you would have to evaluate your credentials. But for the purpose of this CRS exercise, you need to choose your highest level of education. A lot of you are not in Canada, so you wouldn't have earned a Canadian degree. And so you will choose, if you're in Canada and you've earned a Canadian degree, then you can indicate a Canadian degree. But for this purpose, number 4th question is, what is your highest level of education? If you have a bachelor's degree, indicate that. If you have a bachelor's degree and a diploma, then you would indicate 2 or more certificates. If you've got a bachelor's degree and a diploma, then you will indicate 2 or more certificates. Now, for those of you who have OND and HND, this is what you will indicate: 2 or more certificates. It actually gives you more points than just indicating a bachelor's degree. Now, if you've got a bachelor's degree and you've got CIPM, you got a diploma from a recognized institution, then you should indicate 2 or more certificates. If you stick around to the end of this video, I will be speaking about some things that you could do or some courses that you could take to improve your CRS score. So for this purpose, I'm going to indicate master's degree. Now, if you have a master's degree, you definitely have more points than someone who has a bachelor's degree or someone who has 2 or more certificates. If you've got a doctoral degree, then that's a PhD, you have more points. So the higher your degree, the more points that you have. So I'm going to indicate master's degree for number 4. Number 4B says, have you earned a Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate? Now, this confuses people. The first one is asking you, that's 4A, is asking you what is your highest level of education, regardless of where you earned the degree. Now this 4B is saying, have you earned a Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate? Now, if you're not in Canada, if you've never earned a Canadian degree, you need to indicate no. If your answer is otherwise, if you're in Canada and you have earned a Canadian degree or you're about to earn one, then you should indicate yes. But in number 4B, for most people who are outside of Canada who have not earned a Canadian degree, your answer would definitely be no. The fifth one is official languages. Now, there are 2 official languages in Canada, English and French. Now, you need to submit language test results that are less than 2 years old for any program under the Express Entry system. Now, the 5.1 or 5.1 is saying, are your test results less than 2 years old? If you took, now we're in 2023 at the time of this video, if you took the IELTS in 2020, it means it is no longer valid. If you took the IELTS in 2021 November, it should still be valid. So depending on when your results was released, your IELTS should be less than 2 years old. So it says, are your test results less than 2 years old? I'm going to indicate yes. Which language test did you take for your official language, your first official language? Now, there are 2 options, 2 popular options. There's the IELTS, there's the CELPIP, that's for English, and for French, there's the TEF, there's the TCF. Now, for those of you in Nigeria, we have IELTS in Nigeria. We also have CELPIP in Nigeria. So, for this purpose of the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to indicate IELTS because a lot more people take IELTS in Nigeria. So it will say enter your test scores. I know you do not have IELTS test scores now. If you do, great. But if you do not have IELTS test scores now, you need to put potential scores. So the scores that you would aim when you are taking the IELTS test. Now for speaking, I will say here that you should aim to get nothing less than 7. Nothing less than 7. Actually, for you to get a high CRS score, I will say that you should aim to get at least 8 in speaking. But for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to indicate for speaking, the first option here is 7.5 to 9.0. I'm going to indicate that, hoping that when you take the test, you will get something higher than 7.5 or 8, right? So I'm going to indicate 7.5 to 9.0. For listening, this is very important. Listening score is very important. So for listening, you should get nothing less than 8. The difference between 8 and 7.5 is 40 points. Yes. So you should not get anything less than 8 in listening. So for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to indicate 8. And the first option here is 8.5 to 9.0. That's what you should aim to get. But I'm just going to indicate 8 for the purpose of this exercise. And we're still on number 5. Number 5.2 question. Reading, I'm also going to indicate 7 for the purpose of this, but you should aim to get more than 7 in reading. You should aim to get at least 8 or if possible 9 in reading. But I'm going to indicate 7 for the purpose of this, and then you should indicate it to check if you are eligible. So indicate 7.0 to 7.5. And for writing, I will indicate the same as well, 7.0 to 7.0. You should aim to get more than 7.0 in writing, but for this purpose, I'm going to indicate 7.0. So I'm going to call it again. For speaking, I indicated 7.5 to 9.0. For listening, I indicated 8.0. For reading, I indicated 7.0 to 7.5. For writing, I indicated 7.0. Do you have other language results? So if you've got a French, like TEF, you've taken a TEF and you have TEF results, then you should indicate yes. If not, put not applicable. And a lot of you would put not applicable at this point. Now, number 6 question is asking you for your work experience. It says, in the last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience in Canada do you have? A lot of you do not have any experience in Canada because you have not been here before. If you're in Canada and you've got experience, then you should indicate the years of experience in Canada. If you're out of Canada or outside Canada, this does not apply to you because you do not have skilled work experience in Canada. So we're going to indicate none or less than 1 year for those of you who are out of Canada. This is number 6 question of the CRS2. Now, number 6.2 is asking, now people get this confused. Number 6.1 is asking for experience in Canada. Number 6.2 is asking for experience outside Canada. So in Nigeria, for example, in the last 10 years, how many total years of foreign skilled work experience do you have? Now, this skilled work experience must be paid or an equal amount in part-time. It must be full-time or an equal amount in part-time. It must be paid, means you have to have a job reference letter from your organization attesting that you worked for them. Now, this will come after you indicate that you acknowledged that you are eligible when you are about to submit your application. So, for this job experience, it must be paid, it must be full-time or an equivalent in part-time. What that means is if you've got 2 years working in a part-time job, that will be equivalent to 1 year of full-time. If you've got 4 years of working in a part-time job, that will be equivalent to 2 years of full-time. And so for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to indicate 3 years. Now, 3 years or more. I must state here that you do not get more points for any job experience that is 3 years or more. So anyone who has 3 years of work experience and someone who has 10 years of work experience, they get the same points for work experience. So even if you have 20 years of work experience, you get the same point as someone who has 3 years. But someone who has 1 year gets lower points than someone who has 3 years of work experience. So here I'm going to indicate 3 years or more. Now, I must state here about work experience that you could use more than one NOC code or work experience. So if you have worked in sales, for example, for 1 year, and worked in another organization in marketing for 2 years, you just need to indicate sales as your primary NOC, and then your experience in marketing will be your secondary NOC. So you could use 3 combined experience, right, that you have, work experience that you have. So if you've got 5 years total of work experience, 2 years in sales, 3 years in marketing, you could use your sales experience as your primary NOC. Now you can Google NOC, NOC codes. I can talk about that in another video, but you can Google it. So you can identify what your NOC code is for your job. So yeah, you can use 2 years of that experience in sales as your primary NOC, and then 3 years in marketing as your secondary NOC. If you've got questions about this particular point, please leave a comment. I'm happy to answer the questions. Now, number 7 question says, do you have a certificate of qualification from a Canadian province, territory, or federal body? Now, a lot of you do not have this, so many of you are going to answer no. So we're going to put no for this. Number 8 is, do you have a valid job offer supported by a labor market impact assessment? I know you do not have a job offer. A lot of you do not have a job offer. So if you do not, indicate no. A job offer from Canada, that's what it means. So if you do not have a job offer from Canada, indicate no. Number 9 is, do you have a nomination certificate from a province or territory? If you do not have that, you only have this if you applied for PNP and you were approved, provincial nomination. If many of you do not have this, so we're going to indicate no for number 9. Number 10 says, do you or your spouse or common law partner have at least one brother or sister living in Canada who is a citizen or a permanent resident? Now, to answer yes, it has to be a brother or a sister. Now, this brother has to be 18 years older, it has to be a citizen or a permanent resident, it has to be related to you. This brother or sister has to be related to you or your partner by blood, by marriage, or common law partnership or adoption. Now, to be able to prove this, you have to show your birth certificate, and you have to have similar surnames, or you have to have proof of adoption, like your parents adopted them. A brother or sister is related to you by blood, adoption, or marriage, stepsister, stepbrother. Please, this is not for your uncle, your cousin brother who shares the same surname as you. No, please. So indicate no. If you indicate yes, you get 15 extra points for this. But if you do not have it, indicate no. Now, we're going to calculate our score. It says calculate your score. Click on calculate your score, and the total score is 467 from what I indicated. Yours may be higher, but this already tells me that I am eligible. All I need to do is now start the process. This tells me that I am eligible because I am sitting at 467. Now, how you know if you are eligible sitting at 467 or anything more than 400, you are eligible. If you are sitting at higher than 300 or 300 and something, you are still eligible, but you need to do things to improve your CRS score. Now, the last score that was called in the draw was about, I think, 496 or 500. I'm not sure. So, you will need to do things to improve your score from 467 to 500. If you stick around with me till the end of this video, I will give you tips on how to improve your CRS score. If your CRS score is lower than 500, it will be difficult to improve your score. I will let you know what you need to do to improve your score. Now, we have established that you are eligible. Now that you've established that you're eligible, the next thing that you need to do is evaluate your credentials. So that bachelor's or master's degree that we spoke about earlier while doing this exercise, you need to evaluate it. So you need to send your transcripts to an evaluating body. Now, the popular one is called WES, World Education Service, or World Education Services, if I'm not mistaken. You need to set up an account with WES and follow the steps on WES's website, and then they would request for your transcripts. You need to go back to your university, either go on their website. For those of you who finished from Unilag, you can do that on the Unilag website. Apply for your transcripts. For some of you who do not have the opportunity, or it's not applicable to do it online, you have to go to your university and apply for your transcripts. Now, on your WES portal, there's something that you need to, in a letter that you can download, that you take to your university to apply for your transcript to be sent online to WES. Just follow the instructions on WES website and go to your school with that letter that you download and apply for your transcripts to be evaluated. Once your transcripts are evaluated, your school will send it to WES through an online portal. Your school would have done it before. So just go to the right department in your school. They would have done it for many people before. They know how to do it. They will just upload the results on the portal, and WES will indicate that they have received your results. You will also upload your certificate on WES's website. So yes, you need to upload your certificate, like your diploma, your certificate that you got, an attested copy of the certificate. You could also ask your school to upload that, but I think you can do that on your own. You can upload, if you have a scanned copy, you can upload that on your own. Now, if you did an additional diploma, for example, for some of you who have CIPM and you indicated 2 or more certificates, you need to go to CIPM, the CIPM office in Ikeja, for them, or Alausa Ikeja, for them to, this is for those of you who are in Nigeria, for them to send your transcripts to WES. They've done it before. Just tell them that you would like them to send your transcripts to WES. Now, WES will evaluate the transcripts and let you know when your credentials, it is called Educational Credential Assessment, your ECA. They will let you know when it is ready. It will be indicated in your portal, and they will send you an electronic copy as well as a physical copy. You can use the electronic copy to create your express entry profile. I'll get to that. Now, this is the second thing you have to do. Again, the second thing is to evaluate your transcript with WES. There are other bodies like ICAS, IQAS. There's another one, ICAS. Now, for pharmacists and for doctors, there are 2 different bodies. You can Google them. I think for pharmacy, for doctors is MCC Medical College of Canada, if I'm not wrong. For pharmacists, there's another body. You can Google that. But for other professionals, use WES. For lawyers, you don't have to use ICAS. You can also use WES. After you're evaluating your credentials, the third thing that you need to do, actually before your credentials are ready, you can start preparing for your English tests. Like I said when we're doing the exercise for the CRS tool, or to get your CRS score, you need to take an English test. So you need to prepare for your English tests. If you go on my page, Canada Express Entry Girl, you will, that's my Instagram page, Canada Express Entry Girl, you will see a post where I share tips on getting desired or high scores on the IELTS tests. If you also watch the video that I had, there are some tips on how to get desired scores on the CELPIP test. There's a post that I have with a CELPIP expert. Now, once you prepare for your test and you get your desired scores, you will have what we call your test report form. IELTS will send you a test report form that you can download from their website, or when you go to the test center that you took the test. When you get your test report form, which you can get online, like I said, there is a number there that you will use to create your express entry profile. That's the next step. Now, when you've evaluated your credentials, there's a number, the ECA number, that is on your ECA report that you must have downloaded from the WES's website after they have concluded the evaluation of your transcripts. Those 2 numbers are important because without these 2 numbers, you cannot go on to the next step. The next step is to create your express entry profile. You can Google create express entry profile. You have to answer all the questions. You have to be very diligent, and you have to pay attention to details, answer the questions correctly. If not, it will not let you create the profile. You keep getting error messages. So you have to indicate your ECA number that you got from WES, and then your TRF number, that test report form number that you get from your test report certificate. You have to add those when you get to the point of creating your express entry profile. When you add those, they ask you questions about your work experience. You answer. They ask you questions, all the questions we answered while we were doing the CRS exercise. They will ask you even more while you're creating your express entry profile. When you get to the end, you will submit and your profile will be there. The next step is for you to wait for the draws. Now, this is the tricky part. Depending on your score, depending on your CRS score, you may not get invited, or you may get invited to apply for permanent residency or permanent resident visa. If your score is 500, for example, remember we just did the CRS2, and in the draw, there's usually a bi-weekly draw. For a while now, we've not had some draws, but in the bi-weekly draw, they call a number. Now, the number that they call in the draw is 485, for example, and your number is that your CRS score is 486. You will be invited to apply. If your CRS score is lower than 485, then you would have to wait for another draw. Now, while you're waiting for another draw, if there are things that you could do to improve your CRS score, please do it. Now, some of the things that you could do to improve your CRS score would be: 1, to take an additional degree or diploma. Example is, if you've just got a bachelor's, you can take CIPM, you can take BCS, you can take ACCA, you can take some other diplomas that are from recognized institution. I have a list on my page, Canada Express Entry Girl. I have a list of one of the pinned posts indicate the courses that you can take to improve your CRS score. Check that out. I can put the link in the description. Now, you can do this to improve your CRS score. You can also take the French exam. French actually gives you, at least if you get good scores, you can get 53 points. You can make at least 53 points, or I think maximum of 53 points when you take the French test and you get good scores. So yes, French could give you an increase or a bump to your CRS score. Another thing that could give you an increase or bump your CRS score is a higher degree, master's degree, PhD. I know it's harder to take these degrees, right? It takes years to get a master's degree and even more years to get a PhD degree. But if you are in the process already, you should know that that will give you extra points. If you've got a master's degree, you don't need to take all these other diplomas or certificate courses, no, because your master's degree gives you more points than 2 or more certificates, like I indicated earlier. All right, after you do this and you are invited to apply in the draw, you then begin to compile your documents. In the next video, this video is already too long, I will talk about the documents that you need to compile to submit your application for permanent residence or permanent residency, to become a permanent resident in Canada. Now, this video is long, but I hope it was helpful. If you've got questions, leave the questions in the comments, and I'm happy to answer those questions. Please do not forget to send this video to people who have been asking you questions about how to come to Canada. I took my time to, do the CRS tool or exercise with you. So please do not forget to subscribe, do not forget to like and share this video to people that want to come to Canada. A lot of people are eligible, a lot of people qualify, but they do not know that they qualify. So please send this. All right, do not forget to like, do not forget to subscribe. Thank you. Ciao.